Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakar. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely, and Shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely, and Shalom to the Akim that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say Shalom to your Akim out there. And this is a quick sit-down lesson, another one, through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of the Yahweh Shai. On this September the 8th, 2022, at 6:33 p.m. Central Standard Time on this Thursday afternoon. And this is a news article, and this is another news update of that Joel 3:9 is coming into effect. Wake up the mighty men, prepare war. And Wars and Rumors of Wars, which is recorded in reference to Matthew 24:6 and Matthew 24:7. Nation rising against nations and kingdom against kingdom, as this is a sit-down news update in regards to those scriptures. And this is a news article from RT.com, published on September the 8th, 2022, from RT Alternative News Around the World. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads from RT.com, for in the news on September the 8th, 2022, at 6:35 p.m. Central Standard Time on this Thursday afternoon, and it reads, Belarus begins exercise near Poland. And I remember doing a video in regards to, I don't know if he was a representation of Europe, a spokesperson. I forgot who he was, but I did a video on this regarding Poland. Was it Poland? I believe it was saying like Poland might get involved in a war with Moscow, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because I did a video on this, I believe yesterday, if I can remember, Now you got, because he was saying, when I was reading through the article and I did a sit-down lesson on it, it was saying that he was worried that Poland might get involved in a collision war with Moscow, because with the Russian-Ukraine situation that's going on, even though that war is intensifying. It's been going on since the month of April all the way until now. So I just wanted to add that on and noted that, Now you got this right here. It says the Belarus begins exercise, because Belarus, they allies with Russia, and Belarus began exercise near Poland. Minsk is set to practice a liberating temporarily occupied territory, the country's defense ministry says. Aimed heightening tensions with the West, Belarus has commended military exercise, which will train troops to propel potential invaders, in the Ministry of Defense announced on Thursday. It says the U.S. will allow to practice combat special operations meant to liberate the territorial temporarily occupied. The advisory, the ministry's statement said, the drills will also allow soldiers to hone skills in restoring control over the state border, train close area support, the implementation of martial law, and fighting against the adversaries' commandos or illegal armed groups. The exercise is expected to last until September the 14th and will take place in the region bordering the Poland and Ukraine, as well as the Vespis and the Mis region. Belarus also invited international observers to attend in order to demonstrate a maximum transparency and the desire to improve regional stability. Belarus started planning the maneuvers after President Alexander Belenski claimed in July that NATO was preparing for a war in Eastern Europe. As I mentioned in my previous videos, that was why a couple of months back, I believe Joe Biden deployed more in additional troops over there in Romania and parts of Eastern Europe as well too, as other soldiers was deployed in that region over there in Eastern European, and the majority of them are NATO allies, or that's in support of NATO and the United States and Ukraine combined as well too. And it says Belarus started planning the maneuvers after President Alexander Belenski claimed in July that NATO was preparing for a war in Eastern Europe, was citing increased activity by the military alliance. And it seems that newly minted crusaders from the North Atlantic Alliance suddenly decides that the time is ripe for one another during next Osten. He said at the time, referring to the German idea of conquering the land in the east. In August, amending ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine, Lukashenko called Kyiv a threat to Belarus, a national security, accusing the Ukraine leadership of stoking regional tensions and embracing policies directly against its own people. The drill comes on the heels of a Glasgow 2022 international military exercise, which I did a video on that as well too, about a couple of days ago. Exercise hosted by Russia, in which Belarusian troops also took part. So yeah, these wars and rumors of wars, nations rising up against nations, Revelations 11-14 is definitely coming into full effect, As you see the Russia-Ukraine tensions increasingly, now you got the spokesperson not too long ago I did a video on, as I mentioned before, I was going to state it again. And he was saying within the next 3 to 10 years, he kind of warned about a potential Poland getting involved in the Russia-Ukraine situation, and potential Moscow and Poland might get involved into a war between the next 10 years, which might be lesser than that, especially what's actually been going on, especially with the Russia-Ukraine situation, as I stated before. So yeah, these nations are rising up against nations, kingdom against kingdoms. Second war was passed, behold, the third war coming quickly, as we see in these signs taking place, as it's increasing now, more than ever, And as we see right here, you have because Joel 3:9 is coming into full effect. Since I mentioned that, I'm going to bring out that scripture out. And that's why you're seeing all these nations doing all these military drills, these military exercise simulation type drills, these ground troop trainings of military groups on the battlefield, ground training, rocket launchers training from North Korea and other nations as well too, and from Russia and many other nations as well too. And that's what that Joel 3:10 comes in. And the book of Ezekiel 38 of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai is gonna put the warlike type spirit in those Russians, because Russia represents the bear, you know, as you see with the Russia-Ukraine situation going on. So, these are things to be increased more and more, far as warlike related, in that sense. And this is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 9, in the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, "Proclaim ye this amongst the Gentiles, prepare war," which we're seeing right now. That's why you're seeing these nations gearing up, preparing for war. These military exercise wars and these ground troop training been increasing from 2020 all the way into 2022, all the way into now, increasing now more than ever. And I'm going to read it again for edification's sake of this sit-down lesson. Joel 3 and 9. And it reads in the Holy Scriptures, "Proclaim ye this amongst the Gentiles," which is the other nations outside of the nation of Israel. "Prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, and let them come up." Right, because Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai is putting that warlike spirit into these nations as these tensions continue to escalate and increasing between the nations, and these wars and these rumors of wars, nations rising up against nations in different kingdoms, commotions of wars, proxy wars, ongoing conflict between the nations as it's increasing now more than ever, And then this is a book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 10, "Get your swords Salaki." Joel, chapter 3, verse 10, and it reads, "Beat your plowshares into swords and pony hooks into spears, and let the weak say, I am strong," right? Because you're seeing these nations are being that warlike type mindset, gearing up and training and preparing for war, That's why you've been seeing all these military drills are increasing now more than ever at a higher rate, And you seeing military training all over the world, throughout parts of Europe, throughout parts of different countries as well too. You're starting to see that take place increasingly now more than ever. Because these nations are definitely gearing up and preparing for war and preparations for war. Because Revelations 11 and 14, second war was past, third war coming quickly. In Joel 3 and 9, and through all the way into Joel 3 and 10, "Let the weak say, I am strong. Wake up the mighty men and prepare for war," in reference to those scriptures. So these things are to continue to increase more and more and more now than ever, So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, presence, mercy of the Hawaii Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Bokakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and above.